I've got a community, and I have calls, and they get access to all my training, and they can upgrade to a little bit of Slack. Lifestyle Ponzi scheme, which is like, my life's great and I make lots of money, and they're true on one front and usually lying about the other. So they attract more people to build the same business because that's their model. They have an incentive to tell people that they love it. So everybody's there clapping that this is the greatest business model on earth, and I've got 94 team members and 2% margins. And then you get into the back room and everyone's crying because they flip and hate it. It's complex. It's got too much responsibility and overhead. When really, if I just had a few grand a month that a business was thrown off and I could work 2.5 days a week and spend the rest of the time surfing and with my kids, then life will be peachy. The perception and the reality are two very different things. So people need to follow along with people whose lives that they're, maybe aspire to a model who've got similar values to them. And that's the designation that a lot of people are using now. Follow people that they admire the life of, not follow the people that they necessarily admire the skills of, because a lot of people have got the skills, but not many people have got the life.
Yeah. Actually, for me, I remember actually being at a Hollywood party once, and there were celebrities there and different athletes, and it was this big charity bash, and they paid the top speakers $250,000 to be there. And I remember I was talking to this dude who had just that morning, after 17 years, had sold an app that he had been in development for seemingly forever, and he sold it for $350 million. So naturally, that piqued my interest. And by the end of it, he told me this sob story of how he became an alcoholic because he was just so miserable with the software. His wife divorced him. His kids, he said, they wouldn't even recognize me if they walked past me on the street. My health suffered. I'm miserable, but I got $350 million now. And I was like, dude, in the beginning of this, I thought you were going to say some really insightful shit. And by the end of it, I'm like, I'm happy that I never made $350 million the way you did it, and that I get to do it the way that I do it. I think, one of the things you were talking about too is that's really interesting is the overhead component. Because unless you really love the game of business, what nobody talks about in these kind of the dark side of this business, if you have a business that's doing 100,000 a month and has 90,000 in overhead, you're stressed the fuck out constantly. There's people on the outside that look at them and go, you're clearing 10 grand. That must be so amazing. Or you could put those numbers at 10 million and 9 million. It's not the numbers that matter. It's deep down, you got to make $90,000 and one just to be fucking profitable this month. So you got to and all it takes is 2-3 shitty months. So I love the way you've set your business up to be super lean, where you just don't have that stress, where you don't wake up and go I need to make $40,000 in sales, or I ain't gonna get my fucking milkshake and I'm gonna have to fire 3 staff members, by noon, kind of thing.
I've got a community, and I have calls, and they get access to all my training, and they can upgrade to a little bit of Slack and one-on-one with me. And this is completely outside mentorship pieces that I do, which is, it's not cheap to work with me, right? But my community last month generated 106,000 revenue. That's me and a very well-paid, admittedly, assistant, Alex, who's been with me for a decade, and some software. You think I kept a decent amount of that? I'm not even running ads right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's, that's working intensively Tuesday and Thursday. I did a little call with a friend's client group this morning, and I spent about 2 hours writing on Monday. Don't know what I'm doing on Friday. So it's working 2.5 days a week. Don't get me wrong, Tuesday and Thursday they're pretty stacked. I'm going from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. with little breaks, and I'm working hard. But yeah, you can have it. You can have it all. You can have it all.
Yeah.
If you set it up for with your life first, and then put the business over the top of that.
Yeah. I love those little focus bursts too. I've actually found that, I don't know about you, but I've reached periods where there's just enough recurring and breathing room where there's I don't have to do dick fuck all for a long time. And you actually get bored and want to work. So, but it's a balance between you know, like not the 80-hour week grind, Gary V, like constantly. It's like you said, like give me like 2, 5, 6 hour solid sessions a week and I'm good for the week. But you know, in a lot of ways, I'm sure you're more productive in those 5, 6 hours than a lot of people are in a month and a half or 3 months or 6 months, whatever. So that, like, you know, you get the
Yeah, yeah.
important shit
I
done.
see it as seasons. I see it as seasons as well. Like sometimes I like to work a lot because I love what I do and I love the people I work with and I love the insights that my clients, because I'm privileged to work with a big range of people and the things I get to see behind, and that teaches me stuff. Like all my clients teach me something.
Yeah.
So I'll go through seasons where I'm, you know, I'll do 10 or 14-hour days, right? But it's a season. I'll also go through seasons like I went to Europe for 7 weeks this year and I'll go there for 9 weeks next year. I opened my laptop like 3 times in that kind of time period. So it's the season, right? I do, you know, I think having a structure which enables you to lean in hard when you're really in the zone and create, and the leverage that we have in these businesses means that we can build massive assets and massive equity in short periods of time, has you know, smart. It's like I see intellectual property and services and these things like buildings. You spend 2 weeks heavily building something and investing in it, and you can spend 2 years yielding it, you know, on a much more even timeline. But
Yeah.
you might spend that 2 weeks, you know, locked in a room. And, you know, sometimes that feels good and sometimes it doesn't. But if you look at the bigger picture, then it's worth, that can be worth it for some people, because we can build huge equity, we can build huge assets that we can yield for a long time, you know, and they ain't passive income, but they're definitely things that you can yield for a long time if you're smart about it and you're deliberate about it.
Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll also like my book on Amazon called Beyond the Agency Box, which you can also find by my name, Frankie Finn, and it's got a lot of awesome reviews. And it really just goes deeper on a lot of things we're talking about, everything you need to grow and start a lifestyle agency, from the stages you'll go through to getting clients, to how to create winning offers, to high value deliverables, to wowing clients, to building teams, to building systems, and building a boring factory that's like a 7-figure money machine for you. So if you're interested, I put links for you in the video description, as well as it'll be in the pinned top comment below, and make sure to check those out.